Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to Kottabos Space Program. And this episode, this is going to be an interesting one. Kind of another diversionary episode, but this one at least involves space, unlike our boat episode not too long ago. So let's load in and go to the vehicle assembly building to show you something I've been working on. Basically, because this weekend I was watching a lot of Babylon 5 because I was kind of bored, and I have all the DVDs. So I decided to try and build myself a Starfury in Kottabos Space Program. Let's load this thing up. Now of course, I'm not good with space planes, so I didn't try and make it as a space plane. I used our standard heavy lift rocket to get it into space, but on top, we have this. Let's zoom out a bit so we can get a better view. This is my Starfury, built in Kottabos Space Program. We've got some RCS tanks hidden in here so that we have functioning RCS on the outside, so we can do the cool flipping around and whatnot that the Starfury fighters do in Babylon 5. We of course got the wings, similar to of course an X-wing, but not quite as X-like. We've got these, what are those fins called? The Delta Deluxe winglets, serving sort of the flat bit that you have on the top and bottom of a Starfury. Some plating there to add a little more definition to the sides, some winglets on the side, and of course fuel and engines. And I use the Copula command capsule for this, as it kind of looks a little bit-ish, a little more rounded than the Starfury cockpits are, but nonetheless. And as you can see here, if we zoom in, we used a series of nuclear reactors here to serve as the guns on the Starfury. Oh, it's wonderful. I had a lot of fun building this thing, even though it was extraordinarily frustrating, and even more frustrating to launch. Having these slightly off wings, I mean, they're not perfectly symmetrical. You have this more rectangular pattern than a cross pattern. The winglets out here cause a lot of issues, and even if I turn off their control ability manually before launch, they cause my ship to spin as it's going up into space, which is not exactly what you want. And we have the similar problem with these wings here, because they are, again, functioning winglets. We got them on the top and bottom, and once again giving us the issue that they're not symmetrically going across. They cause some interesting control methodology while taking off. So in this episode, I'm not actually going to be doing my usual of looking at it in the VAB, then launching it from the launch pad, because it took me, quite literally, 24 tries to launch one of these things successfully into space. And, you know, I was going to record it, but they weren't even like interesting launches. They weren't catastrophic failures or anything. It's just, you know, this thing starts spinning and you realize, well, it's not gonna make it now. So I already have one of these in space that we are going to go and take a look at, because this thing, is a pain to launch. And I had to put all these struts here because for some reason, even though that is, you know, the typical sort of decoupler right there, it doesn't seem to hold on to this top bit very well. I think it's because it's so wide that even a little bit of jostling basically disconnects it. So I had to add a ton of struts just to keep this top bit stable, because on my first couple of launches, the Starfury actually shook off of the rocket But again, nothing too catastrophic. I was actually able to land it, though not like a plane. I landed it more like a lander. But nonetheless, yeah, it's just... Oh, it was a pain. This heavy rocket can do it. It can get it into orbit, but my word, it is just nearly impossible to actually get this thing up into space in any sort of timely manner. So, yeah, we're going to go to the tracking station now and head out to my Starfury that I already have up in orbit. Just go here. We've got all of our missions. And as you can see, yeah, it hasn't been up there long, only 11 minutes now. Like I said, it just took me forever to get this thing. And it's in a nearly 140-kilometer orbit around Kerbin. So, you know, it's got a good orbit. It's there. I'm happy. So, let's go take a look at this thing in its full glory in space. Alrighty, and here we are with a loner Kerbin in the pilot seat. And yes, we have a Starfury. Let's go to the free camera. There we are, much nicer. Ah, this thing is wonderful. I had a lot of fun building this. As I said, it's probably one of the most interesting ships I've personally built. Because typically I'm looking for one of these things to do a very specific mission, and just to build something for fun, like with the boat, it was quite an enjoyable experience. And well, let's pilot this thing around a little. I'm probably going to end up putting it into a burn that we don't want, but oh well, let's fly it a bit. Whoop. Whee. Whoop. So, yeah, it can bank around. It's definitely not a nimble craft. It's certainly one problem with the Copula command capsule. The thing is a freaking brick. Even though it's only a one-person capsule, the thing just is extraordinarily heavy. So, yeah, I'm going to cut off the engines here, because I don't want us to be re-entering atmosphere, though we're on the prograde point, so that probably won't be an issue. Let's just stabilize ourselves with the SAS here, then go to docking mode, and just like in Babylon 5, you can whip this thing around using the RCS, which I don't actually have on, so that did nothing. That was just the momentum of this thing flipping itself around. But yeah, there we go. We've got full control. We can spin this baby around. Whee! Translate it up and down. Let's... SAS. We're getting into a slightly uncontrollable spin. Let's turn the RCS off here. Don't want to waste it, because those tiny little RCS tanks that we have right there are not exactly chock full of monopropellant for us to use. But yeah, this is a fun, functioning little Starfury. Again, not a nimble craft in Kottabos Space Program because of the choice of the Copula command capsule, but a very fun one. And, of course, being a Babylon 5 nerd, this thing entertained me greatly, as I love that series quite a bit. And making a Starfury it was just a whole load of fun. I love the look of this thing, especially using the nuclear reactors as the guns. So let's turn back the RCS and rotate this baby around. Loner Kerbin in there, I don't think he's enjoying himself in his nice new Starfury. Alright, let's bring it about. I'm tempted to... I don't remember which version of the Starfury it is, but it's the one that can actually go into atmosphere. It has the more elongated body to it. I'm tempted to try and make one of those as a space plane and see if I can actually take one of those things off from Kerbal Space Center up into orbit. I just think that would be hilariously fun. And since it, I believe, was designed to be a bomber, that would be kind of cool to try and make like some sort of bomb system. Like just have a decoupler with a fuel tank. I think that would be a whole lot of fun. But that is definitely going to be another day far out into the future. I'm just happy that this... Whoop, I did not actually mean to do EVA, but hey! There we go, Loner Kerbin, taking a look at his Starfury. But yeah, that would be a mission for another day. It might be fun to try and build some of the other ships from Babylon 5. It would be amusing, I think. Let's, ooh, we're still on SAS, turn that off. Rotate ourselves around to look at Kerbin. There we are, a beautiful sight. And I think a good place to end this episode. Though, now that I really think about it, this would also be a good cockpit to try and make a TIE fighter. Ah, good times, good times. But yes, that is going to be me for this episode. Just a short one today. I just wanted to show off this little ship that I had fun building. If any of you are Babylon 5 fans out there, you may have enjoyed this as well. I'd love to see some of the cool ships that you guys have made out there, so if you want to post down in the comments with links to any videos or pictures of cool ships you've made, I would absolutely love to see them, especially if they're sci-fi themed. Perhaps you have made a much better and much more functional Starfury than mine. I would definitely love to see that as well. But yes, I hope you all have enjoyed this episode, and of course that you come back for the next. And as always, my friends, have a good one.